recording. And yeah, before we get started, how have things been going since last time? It's been
I
a little
remember
bit since our last session. So, has things been going good, bad?
Good. I've implemented a few of the things I learned, but there's still a few things that I haven't. I think I've been switching between heroes a bit, and so that meant that I haven't done as well as I could have.
Yeah, because you didn't have as much advice to work with and things to work on. Yeah, it makes sense.
That's
So,
right.
then just before we get started, do you have any questions for me?
No, no questions.
All right, so then we can probably just go ahead and hop right into it, and then, same as usual, just be a minute or so looking for something to talk about.
Come and face me.
Okay, nice shots.
walk the dog.
Okay. Unfortunately, Zarya steals the nade, and then also might look for the nade like slightly earlier while they're pushing through choke. But in any case, we end up trying to chuck it in, and then Zarya just walks in front of it. So we just want to be careful that if we're trying to throw it, I think we're trying to throw it over them. That we're typically throwing it over isn't the way to go if we don't have a way to get it over them, right? So you can throw it over if you have like a longer arc, or if you're above them, or if you're like further back, or something of that sort. But we just gotta be careful about Zarya jumping up into it, or even just make sure we're landing it well, because moving to left or right might just be better than trying to jump over.
Yeah, gotcha. So, or maybe I should have gone for a splash nade.
Get
Yeah.
back in.
I mean,
And now,
every nade that you ever go for should be a splash nade, essentially. That should be your objective. You never tried to intentionally hit people with nades, as when you
hmm
try to intentionally hit somebody with a nade, there's multiple things that happen, right? If just wondering, we haven't have we gone over Ana before, or we did Sombra last time, or and then
yeah, we've
we have.
gone over enough.
Okay, so then that's probably something we've gone over, right? Is try not to go for splash nades, but because it can go sailing past them, and then when you throw them at the floor, right, then it has a gigantic radius where it can hit people. So, yep, most of the time you're going for splash nades. Um,
Gotcha.
right. So let's take a look at the death, and I think, why did we die? Because obviously we don't want to be dying. So, um,
So the Hanzo got me.
mm.
So
So
I should have been positioned around the corner.
yeah, probably, because if we're right
Because
here, we can still do everything except for now Hanzo can't see us. So when we did coaching last time on Ana, have we discussed the three check boxes of Ana positioning?
um, cover, sight lines, and health pack. Is that right? Or route of retreat?
Yeah, so it's, can I see my team? Right, cover is something
hmm
that applies to every character in the game, right? So cover isn't Ana specific, right? So you have, can I see my team, right? That is sight lines, like you just said. Can the enemy team see me, right? If you are just healing your team, why would you want the enemy team to see you, right? When we
Mm.
could, for example, let's say we just did this and we can still heal our team, but now nobody can shoot at us, right? Why would we heal these guys while standing right here when that's just going to get us shot at and killed, right? When we could do this, right?
Yeah, gotcha.
Now, if we looking for abilities or shooting at stuff, then we can peek, right? Then we can do things, but we always want to be behind cover while we are healing, right? And then thirdly is, can I land abilities? And that is particularly off angling, if we've discussed off angling previously. Is that
Yeah.
some? Yep. So that would be off angling, and those are the three check boxes of Ana positioning, right? And then those also apply to some of those also apply to other supports as well. But here we just aren't using cover, and we aren't standing behind cover, and then that's the big issue, because there's no reason why we should have been out in the open when we're just flat up healing.
Gotcha.
I will keep you healed.
Objective lost. Stop the payload.
I've seen. You're going to.
Okay, so here we run into a little bit of almost the opposite problem of, like, we have our team pushed forwards a little bit here, and we just kind of
hmm
hang in the back and chill here, right? When there's no reason for us to be backed up in this situation when we should be, having sight lines on our team and looking for abilities on the enemy team. And then we come back in and Reinhardt gets
I've
purpled,
seen
and
this.
we
You're
still
going
we,
to
we attempt to heal him twice there after, even though he's purple, so just a little bit of a delayed reaction. Good nade in there. That's a good idea. Have we talked about on the Ana need tech scope with you need to
Uh,
scope in?
no.
No? Okay. So we'll discuss that if we ever need to go to the training range, or I guess if we don't find anything else that we need to, then we'll just go to the training range at
This
some
is
point
going
here.
to
But
hurt.
it's very short, so we'll see if we can save it for a little bit here.
Yeah. Oh, is that when you're scoped in, you can see where your nade's going to fall?
Yeah. When you line up your ultimate
Yes.
charge. Yeah. So we discussed that one. That one's going to be particularly handy at longer ranges, and this would be the
Yep.
long range right here, right? So
Yeah,
I would just
gotcha.
recommend you have to scope in, and then you line up your ultimate charge with the enemy.
Gotcha.
Get back in the fight. I'm under attack. Walk it off.
Okay. Once again, letting people walk in front of our nades. So there's been something that's a little bit consistent, right? Like imagine, for example, right here. And we also are a little bit hesitant to go for the abilities here, right? So let's see, like right here, for example, when Reinhardt's like full HP, and if we push forwards here, we can just chuck in a nade like right through there, 3-man nade, right? That sort of idea. Like, you can see a big nade there if we went for it, or even when Genji jumps backwards here. We did see the big nade opportunity, but now Zarya ends up walking in front of it. Reinhardt ends up walking in front of it, and then because we let people kind of squeeze up that choke and we accidentally hit Reinhardt,
Walk it
then
off.
that means that we only hit 2 people instead of 3 or 4. So, and Reinhardt didn't even really need the nade. So we just want to make sure we're watching out for hitting people instead of hitting the ground in between people, and
Mm.
being careful that they're not
You're going
intercepting
to
our
live.
nades. Alright, now they come in with a nano blade. We just used sleep on something else, so we don't have sleep. We never ended up using nano that fight, so potentially we could have won that fight sooner had we maybe looked to
Mm.
initiate with our ultimates first, right? I don't know if we've talked about this before, but just in case as a reminder, in case you forgot, ultimates that are used first generally get more value than ultimates that are used second, right? When you use your
Gotcha.
ultimate before they use their ultimates, it's generally going to do more for you. So here, because we don't use our ult, we end up getting killed before we get a chance to. So,
Gotcha.
looking to do things faster.
Take your medicine. This will only hurt for a
Don't
minute.
throw aggressive nades when you're in need of healing, right? You throw aggressive anti-nades up until a point where healing needs are needed, right? When healing needs are needed, you aren't throwing, you are throwing healing needs, right? So first off, we push through open territory while we're half HP. Maybe not a super smart idea. Request healing. Wait for no, where's our other support? Our other support's dead. So if our other support's dead, we might want to just self nade here, because you don't want to be sitting at 100 HP. Then we also take some extra shots, and we're at 50 HP now. So here,
Mm.
best course of action would just be to throw nade at our feet, hit us D.Va, or if we waited an extra half a second, we could get ball in it too, right? So us D.Va ball, right? And instead we chuck it up at the Zenyatta and then sit at 50 HP, which
You're
potentially
powered
causes
up.
us to die there, which does cause us to die, right? So we live there had we just
Mm.
self-naded.
Yeah, I
So
think that actually comes down to awareness in that I didn't know that our Mercy was dead.
Oh, even
Um,
even if Mercy was not dead, you probably should have still self-naded because you were
gotcha.
you were in
Right.
immediate danger, right? Heal nades are used when you or your team are in danger and low, right? Not one, not the other, right? If you could be critical right now and not be in danger, and you could be full HP and inside their team and be in danger, right? So, but
Gotcha.
but you wouldn't need healing if you're full HP. So you throw healing nades when somebody is low and in danger, and in that situation we were low and we were in danger.
Gotcha.
The
So we want
payload
healing
has reached
ASAP,
objective
not waiting for Mercy to find us.
Yeah, I can really see a few things I could have done could have turned a lot of these fights.
Okay,
I probably should have gone for the sleep either at the peak or at the bottom.
exactly. Alright, we tried to hit him while he's in the middle of it.
You're going to be okay.
I think my positioning here is not great either.
As of the moment, it's not too big of an issue because no one's around the corner. But yeah, just using cover a bit more. Requesting healing, make sure we're not sitting 100 HP. Right, whenever we take damage, we have so many different things to show us that we've taken damage. Right, so when you take damage, right, we see the person damaging us. Right, when we take
Yeah.
damage, you're also going to see. Oh, for some reason it didn't show there. Let's see if we can rewind it and pause it. Right, so when we take damage, you're also going to see red marks on your screen. Right, at the top of our screen, we can see the
Gotcha.
red mark. Right, you're also going to see those around your crosshair. Here, for some reason, we do not see them. Sometimes that happens. I think it might be. Oh, there you go. There you see it. So right above our crosshair, you see the red mark. Right, that
Yep.
again indicates the direction in which damage is coming from. I.e. forwards as of the moment. Right. So that both indicators that we're taking damage. We see him slam us. We hear him slam us. We see our health bar dip down and we know that we're down HP. So all of these are indicators that we're low HP. Now we see that we're low HP and request healing, right? So it's just paying attention to the, 5 different things that are telling us we need healing, right? And then therefore we're able to not sit at 100 HP for the next, how many seconds.
You're going to be okay.
Now Mercy is not healing me at all, eh?
Yep, which that's them not being aware, but you pressing I need healing gives
Yeah.
them extra sources. Again, extra sources of the fact that you need healing. If you're behind her, for example, then that means that she's gonna be able to hear that you're behind her or to the side of her, because she might there. I think she did see us. She just was not being aware. Like here, she could see us, but it's just maybe just barely. Like it's just like kind of barely on the side of her vision. So like yes, she could have been more aware, but at the same time, had we requested healing, she probably would have been able to see us like 3 times easier.
Gotcha.
Take
Yep.
your medicine. Get healed. Help me.
Good nade. I think we looked for a nade there, but we didn't have it. We also missed the sleep, I think, on a hooked person. Yeah, so we
Yeah.
go for sleep a little bit delayed. Go for the sleep while he's hooked, not after he's done being hooked, right? That way you're getting him when he's like right next to your hog. You know where he's going, right? He's going to right here, right? So therefore your sleep would have hit him if it was just a second earlier, right? So we just fired
Gotcha.
that too late,
You're covered.
and then by that point he's moved out of the way, right?
This
Almost
will
big
only
nade.
hurt for a minute.
Okay, now this is fight number 2 that we have gone without using nano boost, and this second fight has even dragged out for a little while. So this is now fight number 2 that we have not used nano, where that means that now we end up losing the fight and getting 0 value, whereas we could have used nano and won the fight and gotten value.
And then had Nano for the next fight probably anyway.
Yeah. Because we could have just been charging up the next one.
This will
Come out here.
The payload is
Probably be an excellent time to nano the McCree, who's like when he's not doing like that.
This will help.
Massive nade. Okay. Where's the fight happening right now?
It's happening on the payload,
Where's okay.
and a little bit behind it, so probably I should have stayed on the left side rather than moving forward.
Exactly, right? Because this is the most dangerous place for us to be, and we don't need to touch here, right? We have 1, 2, 3 other people touching, right? And McCree's almost about to touch, so there's no reason for us to run into the fray, because as Ana, we're not a into the fray type of character, so probably don't want to be running on the point, and then that gets us down to like 50 HP. Yet again, this is fight number 3 without nano boost, unless we use it
Scratch. You'll be
here.
fine.
I was thinking that we didn't need it. I thought we were pretty good.
ده هيكون مؤلم.
which we almost end up being a little bit wrong there, right?
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
coming out of the at the very beginning. Okay. So actually, you might be right there because I think I'd skipped over the fact that we had gotten an extra kill on top of this. So we were up 2 people to start up the fight, whereas I thought we were up 1 person. So that changes a little bit. Because I accidentally skipped over the Genju dying. Then they get a frag
This
back.
will
So
help.
at the moment we're just up one
This is
player.
going
So
to hurt.
you could be right here that it might not be even needed this fight. But then we get into something like this where now it is a 4v4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4
Mm.
versus 1, 2, 3. Actually, sorry. Yep, 4v4. Yep. So it is a 4v4, and we're still holding on to it, which isn't. I'd say in this situation, it's more acceptable than the others, right? But it still might be a situation to use it, right? We lose it. We now it's a, we 4v3.5, right?
It's just a
Yeah.
scratch. You'll be fine.
So just got a little bit dangerous there, and then we finally use it,
Get in there.
so it works out.
ده هيكون مؤلم. I will keep you healed.
Okay. When you're 90 HP, it's probably more value that you heal yourself than try to get an anti. Like, prioritize staying alive over getting like a one-man anti-nade, right? It's just higher
Yeah.
value for you to
Gotcha.
be alive. So, probably don't want to be at 90 HP as of the moment. Okay. Self-nade yet again, missing sleep. So when he comes in for the slam, we hit him when he's at the top or at the bottom. We don't try to sleep him as he's rolling away. We can, but we end up missing it anyways. So far I think we've hit like 1 sleep, question mark.
Mm.
Something of that sort, right? And we're 5 minutes into the game, or 4 minutes and 20 seconds ish, right? So looking to get much more value out of our sleeps.
Walk it off.
Okay, finally do self nade, but it's just a little bit delayed.
I have your back.
Okay, miss another sleep, right? So we're
I'm under attack.
looking to do a little bit more with it.
Go. I'll keep you healed.
Okay. And we talked about when to, because I'm not sure like how long ago it was that we did the Ana coaching, but did we talk about left click versus, sorry, scope versus unscope when it comes to Ana, and when to use each?
It's about like 15, 20 meters. Is that the switch over?
Yeah. So it is on squishy targets. It's 10 meters, so that's any non-tank, and on tanks it's 15 meters. If you feel like you're more comfortable with your unscoped shots, then you can bump it up to 15 to 20. But in general, it's 10 to 15. I've noticed that we are like 90% unscoped, that we don't scope a ton, right? Especially at ranges where it probably would be useful. Like for example, like just
Go.
notice like
I'll
here
keep you healed.
when we try to heal these guys when they're like 30 meters away from you, right?
Mm.
Probably a situation where we would be scoping in, just making it easier on ourselves to actually heal them and hit these shots, whereas we try to unscope and then we miss 2 shots until Diva flies within our range, right?
Yeah. Gotcha.
See through the dark.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine. You're going to be okay. Healing in.
По готовности.
Okay, notice again, they are ulting first, we don't get value,
Mm.
we are holding on to ultimate again. I doubt we use it here, but right, notice that we don't use our ultimate. If they win this fight, this is the last fight, they win, right?
Mm.
And we're holding on to our ultimate, right? As if it's going to accomplish something after we've lost the fight. So make sure we're using our ultimate. Do you feel like maybe we're not sure on who we should be ulting?
I feel like the engagement hadn't like Nano gets a lot of value when they've engaged, right? And so like we were kind of like it was more kind of poking, and Diva and Hog, you want them to be pretty close to get value.
So in this situation, right, like on a
Do
hog
you?
who's being chased by like 4 people, right?
Yeah. Okay, that's a good point.
That's
Yeah.
that's a little close, right? So you want to use your ultimate when the fight's begun. I would definitely agree with that, right? You
Okay.
want to use the fight when use it when it's begun, but in the situation where like, Tracer would be a bad character, we can just look at the characters of who should we be nanoing, right? Lucio bad, Hanzo bad, Tracer bad, Diva okay, Roadhog without ultimate probably worse than Diva, but he is also very close to ultimate. So in this situation, Roadhog's about to die. We see he's about to die, and we have line of sight on him here, and he also on top of that almost has his ultimate. Probably go for Roadhog when that we have the
Mm.
option here, but we don't,
Healing
and
enhanced.
then that means that he dies. We're down 2 people. We don't get a chance to use our ultimate. Now I'd go for Diva here, right? Where it's still
Mm.
winnable. We're only down a person right now, right? I'd probably go for Diva as the second best target to go for. And yeah, we don't, right? And then we hold on to it even longer. When we went over Ana, did we talk about coming up with priority targets for Nano?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we've done that.
So with our current team composition, what would you say the priorities would be?
Ulting Hog would be number one.
Mm-hmm.
Diva without her ult, because too many times they use their ult when you've nanoed them. Tracer if she's got pulse bomb. And pretty much never
Damage
Hanzo and Lucio.
boost doesn't affect the pulse bomb damage at all.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
So Tracer, I'd probably say Tracer and Hanzo would both just be similar in value. I'd probably say they would both, like, it would just be situate. You definitely don't want to nano them if possible, but they would both be kind of equal on the scale of, like, if there's a situation for it, like if you're trying to save their life, or they're in the middle of the fight, you need to nano somebody, right? Like, you have to get it out there, then either or works, right? But that is you got it pretty much right there. But here we don't use it. We end up sleeping into a bubble, right? Again, noting that
Mm.
we've landed maybe 1 sleep, maybe 0. I can't even remember what the sleep we landed was. I think we landed like 1 at the very start. But noting that we haven't landed any sleeps yet, paying attention to things that can block our abilities, right? We want to pay attention to all the things, right? Teammates, right?
Mm.
Uh, Shields, enemy tanking abilities, right? Enemy tanks themselves, they can block him from hitting people behind them when it comes to like nades and stuff like that, right? So we just want to pay attention to all those different things and look to get around them and avoid them and pay attention to the fact that they have bubbles so we don't end up sleeping into it. Oh, got saved by the bomb there.
Heal up.
Oh, I think Lucio boops him back here when we nade. That's unfortunate.
Heal up.
Yeah, not much you could do about that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Probably Nano the Diva here still, but we'd let her get demech'd, right? So that Nano would save her mech, save her,
Mm.
essentially keep her in the fight, while also damage boosting the best target to Nano here. But if we wait, that's not like, I'd probably say it wouldn't be like too terrible of an idea to wait until Hog gets back since he's like right behind you. So if that's what we were attempting to do, I wouldn't. Yep,
Get
we're
in
attempting to
there.
do it there. That's fine. Okay, we're nanoing Hog for whole Hog, right? That's the main purpose in which we're nanoing him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is whole hog from that distance going to do very much to them?
Not really.
Not really, because it's a close ranged ultimate, unless, just because you have spread and fall off on it, right? So what that means is that we probably don't want to nano him until he's like up here or something like that, right? Let him
Mm.
get closer to the fight, right? Sometimes like you could even wait, like if he got hooked or something, that could even be good for him because he can get up close to them really fast. But here in this situation, we just nano him too early, and then now we can kind of take a look at him and go, okay, well, does he do anything? He gets the hook, but he would have killed the Zenyatta with or without nano. And he
Mm.
goes 1, 2, 3. Okay, we get 1 kill, and then okay, so 1 kill. No, not too terrible.
Hostiles neutralized. You're covered.
My ultimate is charging.
This will only
Okay,
hurt.
good chuck and nade. Noticing just in general, this has been something I have been noticing too, is that we have a lot of wasted shots in between just
Mm.
shooting things that are absolutely nowhere close to hitting targets, or just holding down the shoot button when there's nothing to shoot, and then also overhealing. We've discussed overhealing, yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Just paying attention to health
So
bars. Good.
so
Mm.
the quite a few times I was healing like a 3/4 tank when our Lucio was below half, for example.
Yeah, well, I mean, both in that situation, both of them need healing, but then that would get into healing priority of who needs healing more, right? The tank or the Lucio. But overhealing is when somebody is full HP and we're trying to heal a full HP person, right? Or somebody is most of the way full HP. So, like, let's say for example, we as Ana, or sorry, let's say Hans in front of us is like 190 HP. Does he, in the middle of a fight, is it imperative that he gets 10 HP?
No.
Okay, so it might be higher value to reload or to look for an ability or to heal somebody else, right? So that is overhealing, right? And we notice quite a bit of that, right? Like where we come in here and let's see, this is fine, that's
This will
fine,
only
right?
hurt for a minute.
All good. Then we go for a little bit of an overheal shot on the diva, and then we reload, right? We go for a shot on the diva, that's good. Shot on Genji is overhealing. Okay, shot on diva's fine. Fine. Shoot two shots, or shoot a shot into cart there, right? Fine. Okay, now they're all full HP in front of us, but we reload and then we go heal shot, overhealing, heal shot, overhealing, right? We reload again.
Go. I took you here.
Right, so those two were, that was good. Okay, overheal shot, overheal shot.
Hello. My ultimate
Healing
is
when
charging.
purpled is also overhealing. It's still.
This will help.
Okay. Whenever we're going for nades, we've only ever hit like single antis, right? I don't think I've seen two people been antied at the same time before. So when
Mm.
you're throwing antis, wait for them to group up before we're throwing the anti, right? Don't just chuck in the anti here if we only see one Saria, right? We want to throw it when we see multiple people
This
grouped
will
up,
help.
so we can just watch this fight and go, okay, well, when do multiple people grow up, and then that's a situation where you could have naded, right? So two people grouped up could have naded. If we turned the corner, three people grouped up could have gotten a 3-man anti-nade, right? Had we like peeked it, right? Wait a couple of seconds, right? Now the fight begins. I think we saw Genji drop and we throw it in a little bit too late after he double jumped in the air, right? So we probably could have gotten the
Mm.
Genji if we threw it a little bit earlier or even a little bit later and waited from the drop. Maybe could have gotten Genji and Hanzo, right? Let's see. Let's see. Oh, Matt, we finally hit a sleep and it's off the map. Nuts. Yeah, just wait a couple extra seconds, right? That's
That was a
it.
brilliant sleep. That was. Can we just see that again? Because this is
Yeah.
quite possibly one of the best sleeps I've ever done. And this game has been depressingly bad.
This will help.
Woo! Oh, that was pretty
It
nuts.
was nanoed, and yeah, straight off the map.
That was a pretty nuts sleep, right? You know, if we had nade here, right? That's a big old
Yeah.
nade, right? That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-man nade, right?
Hmm.
If we land that there, right? That's insane value if we get that, right? But we
Hmm.
don't have sleep obviously. But I'm just looking for situations where we could have, right? Um, we landed on top of those guys, maybe like a 3-man nade.
I think this cake's a little undercooked.
Okay, missed the nade. Alright, so, just looking for things like that. We can, like, even fast forward to the next fight and just go, okay, let's just look for the situations, because they're going to pop up all the time when people group up, because people group up all the
Hmm.
time. Yet, we only ever seem to throw it when people are not grouped up, right? When we're only going to hit one person, right? So, if we had chucked it, if we chuck it in right here, that's 3 people, right? Or if we land it perfectly on top of Hanzo, that's maybe 4 people, but that's a little bit unlikely. Right? Again, they're still grouped up while pushing. And they come in this room, 2 people, right, are grouped up. Massive nade, right, 3 people are grouped up, right.
Go to sleep.
So that's 3 people like right there again. So I'm gonna I'm just gonna do that again. One more, and then we'll move on from the point. Okay, that's that. Never mind. That's the end of the round. So let's go back a little bit. And we'll look at your perspective during these fights. I think I went a little far back. Did I? Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I need here.
All right. So we're right around here.
Need healing.
No. Activating self-destruct sequence.
Little far forwards. I don't see the value in us being as far forwards, right? And we also completely ignore like people grouping up in this room right here. So like we as of the moment we can hear them over on the side. Let's see, do we see them walk into the left?
Need healing.
We could hear them over there. We can also see the Reinhardt in there, right? We kind of move over a little bit there. We land the sleep. We still have nade here. Right, and we throw it into the grab. Let's see, did that do a ton into the grab? I would probably,
This will help.
I'd probably say you get almost equal amount of value either way you go there. Probably a good idea that we just go for that nade, but going for the one on the left could have been similar amount of value. Good job grabbing health pack.
Scratch, you'll be fine. 30 seconds. ده هيكون مؤلم.
Okay, another single nade when, you know, right to the right here. Maybe we can get a little bit more than that. Yeah, like right here, 2-man. Right in between Reinhardt and Genji, maybe 2-man. Okay. So this is another fight that we had Nano that we held on to it, right? Now here we end up winning the fight anyways, but
Yeah, I
just to
wanted to
show.
nano the hog, but once he was purpled, I'm like, nah, there's not much point.
Yeah, so now this is fight number 4 that we have had Nano and gone the entire fight without using it, right?
And we had a Genji with an ult. There we go.
So now we use it. Did we have it during the fight where we used this?
Yeah, we
No, we didn't.
did.
No, we didn't have it this fight. Alright, so we can skip forward here. So just essentially that's 4 fights. How many nanos do you think you can get in 4 fights?
You should have 4.
Yeah, I mean like if you charge it up at a really fast rate, yeah, 4. I'd probably say maybe 3 is like a good estimate just for the case that you aren't able to fully charge it up off of someone during a fight, which will happen, right? So I'd probably say 3 is a good estimate to go for. 4 max, right?
And I got 1 really, because like that last one doesn't really count.
Yeah, so we, like you said, during the course of the game we only used 1 nano, right? And
Yeah.
whereas we could have gotten much more than that, right? And then that's just
Yeah,
so
so
much more output.
what I can see here is that I'm just not getting anywhere near as much value as I should from my abilities, and my ult, and my healing, and my positioning.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, this game I didn't play well. I hadn't been playing Anna in a little while, and I think so it's just a little bit out of practice.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mistakes here.
mhm.
I've seen worse. You're going through it.
Yeah, I didn't realize the Hanzo was there, just right on the right.
Yeah, so first off, make sure we're watching and spam jumping, not just jumping, because that's not going to be good for you. Makes you easier to headshot. Also, maybe just walking in with your team might be a good idea there, but we're good. But we end up just walking straight into Hanzo. Is there any advantage to running to the right side of the map here?
I was I couldn't heal our Ryan through the shield.
Trying to get through the shield. Is
So
Reinhardt
maybe I should have come around the other side of the statue instead.
is Reinhardt in need of healing at the moment?
No, he's not.
Okay, so in this situation, maybe we could just sit behind the shield here. Maybe our teammates just break it anyways for us. If we need to, then we maybe run past shield if Reinhardt needs healing, right, or something like that, right?
Gotcha.
But instead, we kind of wrap up out into this very open territory, right? Because I'd probably say going through the shield would be better, because going right here, right, look at how many people can see us. 5 people can see us on the enemy team, right?
Yeah,
Whereas
gotcha.
if we were right here, if we just walk past it, well, now two less people can see us, and we can also back up and be closer to cover the entire time, right? We also just aren't aware of the Hanzo there. Oh, barely get away at 6 HP. Missed some shots, unfortunate.
Take your medicine.
And sleep like a couple seconds after we saw the grasp, right? Watch for the grasp. Paying attention to abilities.
Thank you.
I'm
And then I call out there's a Doom coming.
Alright, so we knew Doom was up there, right? We're
I
look at
should
where
have.
we're aiming.
Yeah, I should have been looking up, and I should have potentially even been just directly underneath where he was, so he wouldn't see me.
Yeah, or potentially just running maybe this way. I guess that team is further than I previously thought, right? Yeah, like you said, maybe like running underneath him, or maybe even just running further away, right, and letting Hanzo tank it so that we can back up and get a little bit away from him, right? So in the situation, right, just make sure we're paying attention to
on
him and we're
fire.
pre-aiming at him, especially if we knew he was there. Don't try to nade the floor, nade him directly. Right? That's a situation
Yeah.
where you try to nade someone directly because if you're midair, you can't nade anything
Mm.
else, right? Whereas
Yeah.
if he's right next to you, you can nade him and then you'd both get it.
Gotcha. And then I call out to my team, I'll sit on payload, you guys take space.
I've seen worse. You're
Okay.
going.
We understand that we can be on like here in a moment we do what we should have been doing like a couple seconds ahead of time, right? To notice how people are critical, and we can be standing like right here so that as soon as the car peeks the corner, we can be shooting them. So we could be shooting people like from here on out, right? But
Mm.
we drop a little bit late, and then we also just like don't really scope in, like it's just a little bit of delayed on both parts, right?
I've
And
seen
also, I
worse.
would
You're going to live.
prioritize seeing and healing critical targets over pushing the payload like 2 meters, right?
Yeah.
So prioritize keeping them alive there because we just kind of delay a little bit on it. Again, scope tech could probably work well there. Okay, a little bit delayed with the sleep. Yeah, because we don't go for it until after he's smushed, missing it anyways, right? Make sure he's standing still essentially here when he is pinning in and he's standing into it, but we end up moving to the left. Make sure you're paying attention to how your movement messes with your
Mm.
aim, right? So here, notice the reason why we miss is not because we're not aiming at him, right? Because we're aiming at him, but because we walk to the left, right? And
Gotcha.
when we walk
Yeah.
to the left, that makes our aim go to the left, right? So
Gotcha.
we have to make sure we're being aware and intentional about how we are moving, because then something like that happens and we miss, right? And we've just been missing out quite a lot of our sleeps, right? We've hit maybe like 2, 3 this game, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Out of the how many that we've thrown out there, we've thrown out a little. So we probably have a success rate of about like maybe like a 5% success rate at the moment with our sleeps,
Yeah.
right? And then nade misses. Nade has been a bit better with the success rate, but high value nades is a different question, right? Like if we were to like say
Mm.
if we were to talk about the percentage of like how many high value nades do we get, I'd probably still say it's like around like a 5% number. Whereas,
Mm.
if we're talking about like decent to okay nades, right? Those are a lot higher, right? We've gotten like with those, I'd probably say we're more so like 50%. We have like 50% of our nades, we get decent nades in, right? But then high value nades, not so much, right? So the difference between hitting one person with an anti versus 4 people with an anti or 3 people with an anti, right?
Yeah, their Anna was getting way better value from her nades than I was. I missed all the shots there.
You're powered up. Get in
Take a
there.
nano.
The pain is coming.
Once again, a solo nade, and we can see very clearly that it's one person, right? We can see like clear as day that there's nobody else that we could possibly be hitting with that besides him, right? Yeah, we're going for it anyways, right? So intentionally look for more people grouped up, because if we wait an extra 2 seconds, right, or we throw it like right here, then we hit 2 people, right? Or we sleep him,
Mm.
right? Which is higher value here, right? On this Reinhardt, which is going to be higher value. Landing the nade when he charges away, right? Or landing the sleep right here. If we land the nade, then he charges away and gets to his team, and our team can't shoot at him too well. But if we land the sleep, well, now that lets our Reinhardt like land the get a pin, right? And
Mm.
charge him, and probably sets up the kill. So in this situation, sleep is probably higher value than the nade, right? Sleep gets value out of shutting down abilities and ultimates, and people when they're out of position. Nade gets value when healing is needed, and when you're trying to intentionally stop healing, and when there's a bunch of people grouped up, right? When you're talking to about a solo person, sleep a lot of times is going to get more value. So here, sleep gets more value than nade does.
So you're saying sleep gets value, shutting ultimates, out of position. What was the other one?
Shutting on abilities, right? When it's a solo target versus multiple people, right? And then nade
Yeah.
gets value when healing is in the mix. When you're then when there's a bunch of people grouped up, when you are trying to get antis in, right?
My
There's
shots
those
find their
situations
mark.
where nade is used. No, good. You know, that's what you should be doing, is trying to go for those, even if they have a very low chance of hitting, because by the time the fight starts, you'll have them back again. The only issue is might have waited like a second longer for the sleep.
Dragon strike is ready.
Okay.
Help me.
Dragon strike is ready.
Okay. So here we get a heal and a purple. So like decent, not terrible. Okay, shoot a couple shots into the little metal wall there.
Name.
Massive sleep.
I will keep you healed.
Okay, just missed a lot of shots there in that fight.
Heal up.
Ooh, a little bit to the left, we hit the Hanzo too.
Mm.
So just in the middle of as many people as possible, right? Not just at one person. We're trying to get it as many people as possible. So that means that we're not just aiming at one person, but we're trying to find the middle of as many people as possible, right? Uh oh.
I need healing.
That's unfortunate. If we were just like that one wasn't too bad of a death, but just being slightly more aware means maybe we can sleep that.
Push your. أنا هاخد بالي منك.
Ultimate is almost ready.
Name.
Nice sleep. Okay, so we're hitting a couple more now. Getting a bit warmed up.
Take your medicine.
Okay, going for some overheal shots.
I'm on fire.
Overheal. Right, there we just shot. Probably, you know, if we rewinded like half a second, and we can see that we just wasted approximately like 6 shots or so, right? So
Yeah.
wasted shots. So 1, right?
Take your medicine.
That one did a little bit, right? But then we go 2, 3, 4. We missed that one. That one's not too bad, but we hit that one. That's good.
I'm on
Right.
fire.
5, 6, 7. Alright, so
Oh,
we
no.
missed, you know, approximately not. Oh, we overused those shots or overhealing, but then also just being completely off. Some of those are just completely off target, right? So just being careful. Okay, so at the moment we're looking for a nano blade, but Genju does not have his ult yet, so we're just being careful of that.
Meteor strike.
You're going to be okay.
Okay. Right here, I'm thinking, oh, I see a bunch of people grouped up. I'm gonna stand on top of cart here and chuck in a nade, and then boom, 3-man anti-nade, right?
Mm. Gotcha.
So it's just being aware of the people, paying attention to where the enemy team is, because then the opportunity passes and they're all spread out again.
Meteor strike.
Uh oh. Chucking a nade there, right? heal up the Genji if he took damage there, as well as you know that there's people around that corner, so you get 2 people in that. Okay, sleeve the ball. Here, I think we're kind of like holding on to the abilities a little bit. And then, yeah, and then we missed the nano as well. So then that is, that one was like more about us being aware of the fact that Genji is looking for Blade, right? We want to make sure we're being aware of that. But then again, that's like fight number 5-ish, right? That we have held on to our ultimate.
So this is where I've really got to use comms and say, hey, like, push in and use it before they do.
Yep. Okay, so you get the kill. Good job. Once again, maybe slightly more value out of, because who's gonna heal him there, right? So you're essentially doing what, like I don't even remember how much damage it does. Like probably equivalent to like around your shot, so like maybe like 70-ish damage, right? You're doing like 75-ish around that damage, and then he just gets out, right? You're not really stopping too much healing because he wasn't gonna get healing anyways, and then sleep keeps him there and stuns him and can stun chain him and can mean that you can secure the kill because you have big people with like burst abilities such as Reiner with his charge or Reaper just walking up and headshotting him, right? So probably be a better idea to go for the sleep than the nade, right? Probably be a good idea to maybe nano Reinhardt right about now. I think we're looking for it. Yep, there you go.
Get in there. Go to sleep.
Nuts. Okay, people wake him up. That'd be a situation where you would, first off, if you're not in the habit of it, call out when you've landed asleep. But you can also call out if you are fairly certain that you can land asleep, or if you know that it's important that the person that you sleep stays asleep, you would pre-call the sleep. So you would say, don't touch monkey, I'm sleeping him, right? Before you attempt to sleep him, so that when you do sleep him, people are already forewarned they do be asleep. At that point, if they wake him up anyways, that's their fault. Don't get upset at them because they're stupid, right? But in any case, right, that'd just be a little bit more of a I get help for people not to be waking him up, right? Because obviously you want Primal Monkey to be sleeping here. Unless Reinhardt decided to charge him, in which case you probably could burst him pretty fast.
Fill him.
Easy.
It's just a scratch. He'll be fine.
Awesome Crusaders!
The pain is gone.
Okay, like half a second earlier, right? 3 people grouped up. Okay, we had chucked in nade right here, 3 people, right? But instead, we chuck in the nade after they're all divided, right? When it's just 1 person.
The pain is gone. Watching your back.
Oh, almost. That was a close one.
Step right up.
Help me.
I don't know why McCree canceled there, but in any case, we did it. Alright, so, when we exit out here, go over the main points, wrap it up, that sort of thing. So, let's see. We were on Ana, the ability usage,
Never stop
looking for a whole
fighting
lot
for
more
what
value
you
out of them,
believe in.
right? Sleeps, we didn't land a bunch, so we're focusing on sleeps, we're focusing on making sure we're actually connecting them, right? As we just only connected like, 5% like we said of them, right? Not a whole lot. So we want to make sure we're putting more value into it. Make sure you're paying attention how you're moving. I think we did good on like not flicking too much, but it's kind of like making sure we're thinking about how we're sleeping, right? Waiting for watching out for abilities that can block sleep, waiting for people who are using abilities to use them, right? So balls coming in for a slam, you don't want to do it while he's rolling in or while he is in the middle of the slam, because those are the times where he's fastest. You want to slam him when he's in the air or on the floor after slamming, because those are the time he's slowest, right? Same thing with like a Doomfist. Doomfist punches in, he's gonna uppercut you. You don't want to sleep him while he's in the middle of the punch or in the middle of the uppercut. You sleep him when he's in the transition, right? In the transition process. Reinhardt's charging. You can try to sleep him while he's in the middle of the charge, right? But you can also sleep him at the very end of the charge, right? Roadhog lands a hook, right? On one of your team or your your Roadhog lands a hook on one of the enemies, right? And you're trying to go for a sleep. You know it's going to your Roadhog, so why are we going to try to track them in the middle of the Roadhog hook animation when we could sleep them when they're right here, right? So all that's the type of thing. Nade, make sure throwing it at the feet between as many people as possible, right? Make sure, scope nade tech looks like this, right? Line up your ultimate, charge with somebody, right? Chuck it in. Make sure that we are putting, again, effort into our abilities, right? Make sure that we're actively looking for people to be grouped up, and we're not just throwing it in when nobody's there, right? And it's just one person. Don't go for like one person nades, because we did land a decent amount of one person nades, but one person
Yes.
nades can be 2, 3, 4 times better for landing it on more people, right? Make sure that we're throwing healing nades when healings are necessary, right? Healing is necessary when people are low and in danger, or we are low and in danger, not one or the other, right? So overall, probably say ability usage goes to like a medium-high priority, right? Ultimate
Mm.
usage, right? Make sure we're using it. That's the big thing. Make sure we're not holding on to it,
Mm.
because ults that aren't used don't get value. They don't do anything, right?
Mm.
So we want to make sure we're using it, because we had like 5 fights that we went without using our ultimate, and that is around like 3, 4, like probably like 3 to 5 ultimates that we could have had we used it every fight, right? That we could have gotten value out of, which means that we could have had a lot of more ultimates out there doing things, right? Make sure they're ultimates that we're thinking about the right target priorities and situations for people to be nanoing, right? Thinking about who we should be nanoing when, right? That sort of thing. But the big thing was just using it, right? Overall, probably like a medium priority, right? Mechanics, make sure we're not over healing, right? When people are full HP, we don't heal. Make sure that we are, let's see, what else is there in mechanics? Making sure that we're not just like completely off with our shots. That, we'd have a couple of shots that we're just shooting into walls or, this far away from people, right? So just watch out for those shots. Be intentional with how we're shooting. Besides that, make sure that I think there's something else I just forgot. Oh, scoping, right? Scoping versus
Open
unscoping
way
is,
more.
yep, scoping more, right? It's 10 meters is squishy targets. Past that is scoping in, right? 15 meters
Mhm.
is unscoped, scoped on tanks, right?
Gotcha.
And then that is about it for mechanics. Overall, probably like a low to medium priority, right? Positioning, making sure we're using cover. 3 checkboxes of Ana positioning is, can I see my team? Can the enemy team see me? And can I do I have positioning the land abilities and abilities, right? Making sure that we're able to take off angles and whatnot, right? Just looking to check off all those, and then I think that is pretty much it with positioning, right? Just using cover more and putting enemy team out of our line of sight. And then overall, probably went to like, probably like a low to medium priority. And then finally we have our awareness, right? Paying attention to our environment, right? Watching our health bar, requesting healing when we're low, watching the fact that we have nano boost and making sure we're actually using nano boost when we have it, right? Paying
Mhm.
attention to where is my team at, where is the enemy team at, making sure that we're paying attention to tab, so we see, I'm pressing tab in between every single fight so we can see what ultimates do I have to combo nano with, and did anybody swap characters, right? Making sure that we're paying attention to sources of damage so we know when we've taken damage, paying attention to people who are enemy teams so we know when they're grouped up so we can land nades, right? Audio awareness, right? Paying attention to where Doomfist is, where he's above us, right? So just a bunch of odds and ends things, right, all over the place with it. And then overall, probably that goes like a medium priority for you to work on, right? So let's put that in order real quick. Number 1 is your ability usage. Number 2
Mhm.
is your ultimate usage. 3 is your awareness. 4 is your probably positioning, and then 5 is your mechanics, right? Do you have any, or actually, why don't we reverse that a little, that last one? We'll put 4 as your mechanics, and then 5 as your positioning, right? So any questions about anything we've talked about, or just anything else in general?
Um, yeah. So, are there any Anna workshops that you would recommend, or any workshops to improve my aim?
So when it comes to improving aim, my recommendation is try hard free for all, as it's a very competitive environment for where there's no teammates, no objectives to worry about. It's just you and your dueling and your mechanics, and that can give you a really good place to focus on it. And you can even do that while you're in queue for games, which makes it even better because that's just an efficient way to practice, right? Is in between queues. You can do it when you're warming up for the day. I'd recommend doing warm-ups if you don't already have warm-ups. And then besides that, workshops, there is one workshop where you can, which I don't have the code to or anything, but there is a workshop where you can learn how to do like sky nades, where you throw up a nade in the sky and then you can see where it's gonna land on the map. But I would honestly say that those are pretty non-essential for you to learn until you're up at
Yeah.
like a master's level.
You
Yeah.
disappoint me.
Yeah, easy.
Yep. So
Um,
good.
that was really good, thank you. And yeah, that was I knew it was a bad game that I played, but it was a far worse game than I realized.
Yeah, well, I mean, just for future reference, I think you know by now, but just bad games aren't what we prefer to go over.
That's right.
Yeah, but if it's what's over is over, right? So doesn't matter
It's all
now.
right. That one sleep, on the Genji was worth it.
Yep. All right. So let's take a look. So I'm gonna